Started?
Yes.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Today we are gonna discuss two topics, which is managing an instance and designing a database schema. So in our last session, we learned what is a big table, what are the uses, and how can we get a security, and how to create an instance and read and write data. So today we'll see how to manage an instance, how to modify it, how to like create and make some more changes and all that. But before that, let's see what is an instance. So instance, a cloud bigtable instance is a container of data. Instances have one or more clusters located in a different zone. A table belongs to an instance. An instance has few important properties, which is storage type and application type. So instance is basically where a table or a data gets um, stored. It table belongs to an instance. So, and a table does not belong to clusters or nodes. Whatever request or queries we run, clusters handle those queries. It doesn't work directly on, it doesn't store tables. And nodes is like it works with the query and it gives an output. So let's just assume we have a table in our instance, and I gave it a query to run. That instance will ask a cluster that find this table and run this particular query. The cluster will give a notification or send like a request to node, and that particular node will work on that query. So what happens behind the scenes, cloud bigtables divide these data or all data from a table into small subsets, which are known as tablets, and each tablet is associated with a single node. After an function or an operation, these tablets go and stored in a file systems. So now for managing, we will see these four things, like how to choose between SSD and HDD, a choice between these, creating and managing labels, modifying an instance, and deleting an instance. So choice between SSD and HDD, it's a permanent choice. If you choose a storage type, these SSD and HDD are the storage types. While creating an instance, if you selected SSD or HDD, you cannot change it later on. It's fixed. Sorry. So, um, regardless of which storage type you are choosing, data will store on a distributed replicated file system that spans across many physical devices. If you are in doubt, like which one should I choose between SSD and HDD, we should always go with HDD until the client is specifically asking for HDD. Why we should choose SSD? Because SSD, which is solid state drives, these are significantly faster and they give some more predictive performance. The individual row reads on HDD are very slow. So if a cluster is using an HDD storage, the throughput with the if a cluster is using HDD, okay, sorry, is it clear now? Hello? Okay.
Neeta,
So, yes,
can you please repeat the previous slide, please? I am not yet clear on that.
this one.
The clusters and no, yeah, this one. Just high level, please.
Okay, so basically what happens, a table is associated and it belongs to an instance. So if I have an instance, it can have one or more than one table. So if I have a query to run, the instance will send a notification or a request to cluster that find this particular table and run this query on this. Then the cluster send that notification to a node. So you can say the data, the node is the ultimate one which runs a query on that particular data or command. So behind the scenes, big table divides our data from the whole table into small data sets, you can say, and these data sets are known as tablets. So each tablet is associated with a single node. It's not same. They are just sharing a same space of a storage device. So that single node is running a query or a request on that tablet and giving an output, and these tablets as an output get stored in a file storage system.
So, I mean, are these like in a tree or something? Tree.
It's not like kind of tree, because a table is not like the clusters doesn't have an actual table. They just creates a replica of the table. So in different reasons, like for if my table is in US north region, then I can create a cluster with a replica of my table in US South. Why will I do it? For some reason, if my US East region shuts down, then this cluster will automatically runs or access the queries on my different or replicated replication on that replicated table. Is it clear?
So, the node is the smallest one, or is the biggest one, something like that, or
It's the smallest one, something like that. It's not
it's
exactly a tree, but these are like a part of an it's a part of big table, like a whole database.
so instance is the bigger one. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So instances have clusters and clusters have nodes. Okay.
Thank you, Nita.
I don't know, like, is it clear for everybody, or like only if you have some issues?
Actually, I'm not able to hear you clearly. It's kind of a breaking in between. Or it's like you are talking too closely to your mic or something like that.
I don't know. I'm using my
I'll log out and log in again. Let's see if that clears out.
okay. Is everybody facing this issue, or you the only one?
I think one of my other friend is also facing, yeah, she also left. I'll do that. I'll log out and log in again and I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
So we'll see how to modify our instance. So first I was saying, like, we have a choice between SSD and HDD. So it's a fixed choice. If once selected, you cannot change it after creation of an instance. We should mostly go for an SSD until specifically asked, because SSD has some benefits over HDD. This gives a faster result. Its results are or performances are more predictable. The individual row reads for HDD are low. Even though we can say like HDD is cost us less price, but ultimately if we see like HDD's row read is less, so the through like CPU utilization will reach to its maximum early. So we'll have to add more nodes in our instance, and if we are adding more nodes in our instance, it will ultimately result in more pricing. Then let's see how to change or modify our instance in console. So this is my project. I have already created it. And now I'll create a new instance here. So here is selection for storage type. Choice is permanent. As I said, we should mostly go for SSD, which is solid state drive. So I'm gonna select SSD, then continue. Then this is for cluster. I am gonna choose region closest to me, zone, number of nodes, great. So this is my instance. So what is label? Here I'm talking like creating and managing labels. So labels are, a label is a key value pair that helps you organize your Google Cloud Bigtable instance. You can attach a label to each resource or an instance and then filter the resources based on their label. So as you can see in this page, but we are seeing instance ID, instance name, then zones, application profiles, nodes. But it's not giving us any detail that what this instance holds. So if I have 10 instances here, then it will be very difficult to remember that what each instance has. So I can create a label for it. I have to select this instance, then info panel, labels, add. So I can give it a key and value pair, which can help me in filtering when I have multiple number of instances. So let's say key, purpose, demonstration. Once set, this key cannot be changed, but the value can be changed again and again if you want to, and you can add more labels as well. So if I want to change this value of my label, I can change it again, but key values cannot be changed. Or I can delete it, I can add more labels into it and everything. Now, if I want to change my number of clusters, number of nodes, I want to change the name of my instance, we can do that by clicking here and click on edit instance. So I can change name here. I can add clusters from here. I can increase the number of nodes. I can delete nodes and delete clusters from here, and I can save it. So only things which cannot be changed once a cluster is been created is our instance ID and the storage type. These two things cannot be changed. Otherwise, you can change or modify everything or delete everything with this in this instance. So this is for managing an instance. Now, the second part is any question for this managing an instance?
Neeta, we can have multiple clusters, you said, right? In that instances?
Yes.
Yeah, in one instance, we can have multiple clusters, and
No,
what was the
sorry, only up to 4 clusters we can have in an instance.
Okay. And in the clusters, what do we hold? Could you repeat that? What is cluster?
Cluster doesn't store anything. It just handles the request or query you are running or requesting from a database. It doesn't store anything.
Okay. So where will the tables be stored?
They will be in an instance.
In instance. And there was the third thing in your second slide. What is the third part? Node, right? Yeah.
Node.
So node, yes. So node is for the users to use the instances. Is that you're saying?
No, nodes is like everything works in a backend. Node is when a user through an application is requesting for something, right? Let's say I want to generate. I want to get the names of a student, get a name of a student from a database. So I send a request based on some things like filters and all that. I send a request, so that node will ultimately work on those requests.
Okay. Okay. Mm,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. And any reason for just clusters to be 4? Why, like, or why not just one, or why not more than 4? Any reason for that, or
Yes.
it's just a limitation?
No, reason behind that is it needs to be created in a specific locations, right? So each region, each location has 4 regions. It's like east, south, north, and that needs to be stored in a specific location.
Okay. The zones. Okay.
Within regions, so clusters can have different zones.
Okay. Thank you.
Will you able to give us any example so that it will be more clear? It's still not clear,
For
sorry.
clusters you are talking about?
Yeah, I mean, how exactly everything will work? What is, like, say for example, a cluster? I don't know. I mean, if you can give us a small example of it,
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I have created a cluster in my US East zone, US East region. Okay, then I can choose different number of different zones for my another cluster I'm creating. So what cluster does is it just replicates the table, like the original table. Oh, see, for example, I have a student's table. So this table is in instance. Now I have given a cluster in US East, and I have given another region in US South. So the table will be replicated in US East and US South. Are you getting it?
yes.
Okay. So if I'm sending a request like give me the GPA for this student, I'll send a request through my application. Then this instance, with this cluster in the instance will handle this request, and this will send it to node, then find the GPA of this student. So basically, it's not storing any data. It's just providing a service, or you can say providing a channel through which we are requesting something, and it's to the ultimate zone where the actual operation or function will happen. It's sending that request to that particular area, which is node.
So it will act as a middleman for instance and node.
Kind of.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's see what is database schema. So a schema is a blueprint or model of a table. Schema is a structure of a database that defines the object in a database. So what exactly a schema is? Schema holds everything, every information about data or a metadata. So what is metadata? The information about data. So basically data about data is metadata. So in schema, we will see all the information about our data set, like how many number of rows it has, and how many number of columns, and what are the types, and everything in schema we will see. So why is schema designing is such an important factor in a big table? Because big table handles with the large volumes of data, and we need a like high performance at very low latency. So we need to carefully design our schema so that we doesn't have some issues at last, which can reduce our performance, which can result in like reduction of speed, and gives us more breakage in our connection. So that is why designing a schema is very important in Bigtable. So what is table? Basically, if you go for a normal layman language, table is consist of rows and columns. But in Bigtable, in relational databases, we do like I have this subject and I have these number of columns and I create a table based on my number of columns on my subject. But in these big tables, data is stored in one big table. So instead of having few smaller tables, in big table we create a large table, and in that large table we store all of our data. So why we do that? Why we create more like a large table instead of some small tables? Because if we are sending a request, he find me this thing, and then we have like multiple number of tables, large number of tables, then backend connection will increase, because the more number of tables are in there, the more connection it will have. Then it will increase on our latency. And multiple tables of different sizes can create imbalancing in workload sharing. Cloud Bigtable has a limit of 1,000 tables per instance. One instance can hold up to 1,000 tables, not more than that. So a table has some components in this Bigtable, which are like column families, columns, row keys, and cell. So what is column families? So column family store all the related data we have in our rows. So just to take an example, I want to create a database student. So every student will have some personal information about them and which are related, like student's name, student age, student gender. So we can create a column family which consists of these three columns. Student's name and age and gender, and another column family as branch, in which we can have some more columns like branch name or their GPA or anything related to their college life. So it is defined when the table is first created. Within a column family, one may have one or more named columns. All data with a column family is usually of the same type. The implementation of Bigtable usually compares all the columns within a column family together. So we just create a related columns into one column family and all other related columns into other column family. We can create up to 100 column families per table. We should choose short and meaningful names for column families. Now, if we have different need for retaining different data, so if I need to retain my student column family for 30 days, and if I want to retain like my branch name or something else with for a 60 days. So we will store these columns, or we will keep these columns in different column families, because retention policies is basically we cannot delete it before like a particular given or there are given time period. So if we will have it in a same column families, then we will not be able to do our function over this. So columns that have different data retention needs should be in different column families. Now columns. So each column is identified by a combination of the column family and a column qualifier. So column qualifier is just as a, you can consider it as a data. And it's a unique name within a column family. So we have unique names for our column qualifiers. And we can create as many columns as we want in our table. There is no limit for number of columns, but for those columns, a row should not exceed the space more than 100 MB. It should be within 100 MB. If it's within 100 MB, we can create a number of columns as long as the row space is 100 MB. Now rows. So it's simple. We all know what a rows is, a horizontal data space. So it should not, as I told in columns, it should not, it cannot store data more than 100 MB because rows that exceeds this limit can result in reduced read performance. It will be very difficult to read data if it's more than 100 MB. Store related entities in adjacent rows. So if you have some related data, it should be stored in adjacent rows, because what we do in Bigtable, we give it a specific range. Okay, find me data from this row to this row. If we have related data, it will come out from that range, but because these are in the adjacent rows. But if we don't have it in adjacent rows, it will be very difficult to access that data. We have to put each and everything instead of giving it a range. Cells is our intersection of rows and columns. There is a single cell can store 10 MB of data. Now row keys. Row keys are nothing, just like they work as an index. So it as an index in a normal table, these row keys are uniquely named. It can be a number, it can be anything. It can be number, it can be alphabetic, but the thing is they will stored in a table in an ascending order. So keep your row key short. A row key must be 4 KB or less. The name of row should be, the row key stores 4 KB of data maximum. Store multiple delimited values in each row key. Basically, if we have multiple identifiers in our key, so when a row key includes multiple values, it is especially important to have a clear understanding of how we'll use your data. Create a row key that makes it possible to retrieve a well-defined range of rows. So basically, it's just saying it should be in its name, row key's name should be well-defined. So when we will give it a range, it can be easily derived. So this is just an example of what are all the things row key and column families are in a table. So these are uniquely identified numbers. So this is row key. Students and branch is a column families. In student column family, we had 2 columns, name and age. In branch, we have 2 columns, branch name and GPA. This intersection of row and column is cell, and these are this name, age, student ID, branch name, GPAs are columns. So these are some considerations we should keep in our mind while creating a database schema. So first one is each table has only one index, the row key. It cannot have another row key. It's uniquely identified. Rows are sorted lexicographically by row key, which is like an ascending order, like alphabetically or numerically. It will be in an ascending order. Columns are grouped by column family and sorted in lexicographic order. All operations are atomic at the row level. So what is atomicity? It's basically if you need to read or access data all at once or nothing at all. So that is atomicity. So avoid schema designs that require atomicity across rows. Keep all information for an entity in a single row. Can split the entity across multiple rows. Reads and writes should be distributed evenly across the row space of the table. Store related entities in adjacent rows for efficient reads. Empty cloud big tables are sparse. It can like store up to 1,000 tables. Empty columns don't take up any space. It's better to have a few large tables than many small tables. So this is designing a database schema. Now there are here some questions regarding big table. So when you design a Google Cloud big table schema, it is recommended that you create schema designs that require atomicity across rows. Avoid schema designs that require atomicity across rows. Create a schema designs that are based on a relational database design. Avoid schema designs that are based on NoSQL database. So we just learned that we should avoid schema designs that require atomicity across rows. So what is the general recommendation when designing your row keys for big table schema? Include multiple time series value within the row key. Keep the row as 8-bit integer. Keep your row keys as short. Keep your row key as long. So keep our row key as short. Google Cloud Big Table indexes a single value in each row. The value is called row key. NoSQL column family oriented database on Google Cloud platform is Big Table because BigQuery is SQL, memory store, cloud data store. These are SQL databases. That's all. Thank you.
Hey Neeta, can you repeat the first question, please?
Yeah, sure. So when you design a Google Cloud Big Table schema, it is recommended that you, there are 4 options. Create schema designs that require atomicity across rows. Avoid schema designs that require atomicity across rows. Create schema designs that are based on a relational database design, and avoid schema designs that are based on NoSQL concepts. So the right answer will be avoid schema designs that require atomicity. That's the answer.
Thank you, Neeta.
That's all from us, Tim.